Thanks for listening to Radio Taiwan International. I'm Michelle Chang, and you're listening to Geek Out. What's your cup of tea? What tickles your fancy? What floats your boat? Join us as we share passions from people in Taiwan and around the world. Today, joining us in our studio today is Emma Benack from our very own news team.
Hello, everybody. I'm excited. I've never been on somebody else's show before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Nobody's wanted me.
Oh, no. Oh, that is remarkably sad because I always have so much fun talking to you in the office.
Oh, thank you. Hopefully other people will realize one day after they hear this episode.
So, this show is all about geek out, things that you can really go on and have really great substance and conversation about because you love it. So tell us, Emma, what do you love?
Okay, so I feel like this sounds like a weird thing to have as a passion, but something that always gets me really excited is writing and receiving letters. And I mean, literally written letters, which is just not really done very much these days.
Really not.
Yeah.
Really not.
But I feel like it was just really a part of my life since I was a really little kid, because I have relatives that live all over the world, and so my mom would really encourage me to write to them because at the time there were no smartphones or internet that you could use like WhatsApp to call someone for free. We would have to call them, and international calls could be super expensive.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. So we would still call them obviously, but writing them letters was also a nice way to be able to express myself. And I don't know, maybe my mom wanted me to practice my handwriting skills as well when I was little. But yeah, it was just something I really liked to do. And then I think what got me super excited about it was when I was in first grade, we read this book called Flat Stanley. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
I never read Flat Stanley myself until I started teaching. And then we actually had a Flat Stanley project. And then I looked at, the whole Flat Stanley situation, and it's brilliant. You basically, for readers, please explain, what is Flat Stanley? Or listeners, not readers.
Yeah. So Flat Stanley, it's actually, it became a series of this poor boy Stanley who ended up flat in the first book because I think he was just lying on his bed, and he had a bulletin board next to him, and it just fell right on top of him and squished him completely flat, which just caused a lot of hilarious situations to come from that. And one of them was that he really wanted to go visit, I think, friends or something in some other state, so it was far away. And his parents were like, "Oh, why would we buy you a ticket when we can just buy you a postage stamp and
that is true.
slip you in an envelope and send you there?" Which, I feel like in first grade we were like, that's a good idea to do. So basically then our teacher had us do this project where we made our own Flat Stanley.
Yes.
And then all of us shipped our Flat Stanleys to all over the world. And then we would write letters with them. And then our Flat Stanley, if we sent them to a relative, they might send us some letters back. And eventually, Flat Stanley himself would come back to us as well.
Oh.
And so to me, letters just always became this sort of source of excitement and joy, and just feeling
indeed.
this physical connection with someone that is really far away.
Right. I never had a Flat Stanley when I was younger, but I did have pen pals, which, the teachers at school help us set up. And that was always, being younger, you kind of don't expect any of the mail coming into the mailbox to be yours, right?
Yeah.
But if you knew that there was a letter coming from somewhere really far away, like France or, from Thailand or someplace, it would be super exciting. You'd be, just really looking forward to checking the mailbox every day, right?
Yeah, no, that's happening to me right now. I'm actually very eagerly awaiting a Christmas card from Germany.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, I also sent a card to Germany. We sent them almost at the same time, and he got my card last week.
Oh,
and so
yay.
now I'm just every
Yours
single
is almost
day
here.
it has to be. That's I just I'm really excited to get it because I just feel I don't know, sometimes people express themselves differently on paper, or other times you read the words and it's you can hear that person's voice in your head.
It's just more personal because you know that this, whatever they wrote down, their penmanship, and it's their personality shining through their letters. And they took the time to actually sit down and pen this and, put stickers on it or draw
Yeah.
a picture, fold it up, put it in an envelope, all for you. So it's a very personal experience.
Yeah. I used to also like include something else in my letters that was something else I really kind of geeked out about at one time, not so much anymore,
Yeah.
but was making CDs. Like definitely past the point of time that people were like making
mixtapes, basically.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so like my computer until maybe a couple years ago had a CD compartment in it. And it all started when my brother made me a CD for Christmas one year. And yeah, so he burned it for me, and that really got me into music, like all these different types of music.
Oh.
And then I made more friends through different kinds of music. So sometimes with certain friends that I would send letters with, I'd also enclose a CD with that. So it was kind of like
that's actually
a musical
really
letter, and then
cool.
also like, not that I actually wrote the songs on it, but I felt like to
you don't
me
have to
making a
write the
playlist
songs.
is like an art form, which I know sounds like maybe a bit extreme, but like to me, finding the right songs to create a certain vibe on that playlist, and then also like I will play a playlist like several times through before burning it to make sure I have the right flow of what songs.
The order is
are
important.
Yeah, it is very important to me. So sometimes like I don't know, I don't want to go like I don't want it to be like monotonous for a while with like entirely the same sort of tone and beat, but I also don't want it to go switching back and forth very quickly between two different genres. So to me, like having to listen to it and really think about what chords I hear or what is like the general vibe of that song, was it another important part of writing this letter, like considering everything I wanted to say and then considering everything I wanted this person to feel as well when they listened to the CD that came with it.
Okay. It kind of shows my age that I call them mixtapes.
No. I call them mixtapes, and then people are like, "What, you mean CDs? That's not really a mixtape." Like, I'm just like,
it is totally a mixtape. Okay, when you make, it's easier to say than burned a CD or CD mix or something.
Yeah.
But it is absolutely an art form because it is obviously you trying to create a certain message with which songs and what order you put them in. Absolutely. So I guess if I were on the receiving end of one of your letters, that would be really, really something to receive from you and really special.
Yeah, I like sometimes to also write liner notes for the CD, like within the letter as well, because yeah, I mean, it's also nice to let that person take it up to their own interpretation of what they think of the song, but letting them know as well, like what you were thinking of when you put it on, or like why you think they might like the song, or just like a little fact about it is something that, I really like as well.
Actually, for my husband and I's wedding, you know how people give out wedding favors?
Yeah.
We did this. Our wedding favor was actually a USB thumb drive with music on it.
Oh, that's very cute. How did you choose this music? Was it music that like represented your relationship?
Yeah, basically. Instead of doing like, little toy teddy bears or candy or something, we figured we should do something that was much more personal. And yeah, he chose some songs. I chose some songs. Most of them like love themed. We did not include any songs that were super sad or angry or something.
I've read stories about artists who have like songs that are very popular for wedding songs, and you're like, this is not supposed to be like a wedding song. Like, what is it like?
Right?
I'll Be Watching You by...
Oh, it's creepy.
Yeah, it's just like, they're like, this is like kind of a song about like stalking and everything, and people put it as their wedding song.
Right? Oh, it's like Lost Love, right?
Yeah,
they would play it's romantic, yes, and it's a very pretty slow melody, but the lyrics are about losing someone. Is that the best message you want at your wedding?
What was your wedding song?
I actually walked down the aisle to All of Me by John by John Legend.
That is very
I know,
cute.
right? It was my favorite song at the time. I actually had planned to sing it to my husband.
Really? I didn't know you sang.
Okay. That is actually putting it very broad. Well, we'll see. We have actually karaoke coming up soon. That'll be exciting.
About that, yeah.
But I was overzealous in trying to plan my own wedding and organize everything myself, thereby not hiring a wedding planner. Big mistake. I was sick on my wedding day.
Oh.
I had a fever. I'd lost my voice.
Oh my
God.
God.
Right. So, moral of the story here is delegate.
Yeah.
Delegate. And if you have it, then just throw money at the job because you want to enjoy your day. But right, music is definitely a message that is really powerful when you send it to someone or you play it for someone. So so letters though. Okay, so tell me, what was the most special letter you've ever received? Or you want to think about it for a minute?
No, I think, can I say like a series of letters?
Of course.
So, yeah, when I was a kid, obviously I believed in Santa and everything. And Santa would like write little notes to me at the, at the end of every year.
Mm-hmm.
And once I started getting a little older, I knew that it was really my dad writing it. And then I felt like the letters took on like a much more deeper sentimental feel to them, because like these letters, they were like pages long, and it was kind of like my dad would still write them from like the perspective of Santa, like throwing little jokes in there. Like I knew it was from him, but he would just like just talk about everything that had happened in that past year, and how proud he was of me, and all the things that he hoped that we would do together in the future.
This is so heartwarming.
Yeah, and just like I think like those letters, I look forward to them so much every year because they just make me feel incredibly loved.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, getting something physical like that, that I know, holding it, I know my dad held that same paper, and just feeling really loved and connected that way, in a way that, if he sent me an email and said the exact same words, obviously I would really treasure it, but
it just wouldn't be
not
the
same. And so, now I have this sort of shoebox that's just like full of all these
kept them.
Letters and everything. Yeah.
I didn't keep mine, or my mom didn't, rather, because I was pretty young.
Mm-hmm.
But I had very similar experience. Santa was really my father.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, maybe somewhere around 8 or 9, I realized that that's my dad's handwriting.
Yeah.
You kind of put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
But my letters were never that long. It was just on the back of the letter I wrote to Santa.
Mm-hmm.
Just a quick note saying something nice.
Yeah, it's so funny
touching.
Like when I thought that it was really Santa, the notes would be like, I think, pretty short, but once I knew it was my dad, that's when he really was just like expressing all of this more. And I think my dad is like a very expressive person in general. It wasn't like, oh, like he never tells me these things in person. But I think especially during the pandemic, when I didn't see my family at all for 3 years, and this is like the only physical thing that I had of them, and just recounting things that had happened to both of us throughout those years made me, not feel so terrible that I was worrying that we didn't have any memories in common, throughout all this time. Like they all had these group memories. And to me, I was like, well, we still were sharing so many things, throughout this time. So those letters really meant a lot to me.
Oh, I'm really happy you have them.
Mm-hmm.
And, we could be, 70 years old, 80 years old. You could still open the shoebox and take a look at it and walk down memory lane.
Yeah,
That'll be amazing.
You see, my dad is very good about writing letters, whereas with a lot of my friends, I love them dearly, but I will send them a letter. They'll be like, Emma, this letter made my day. And I'll be like, are you going to write one back? And they're just like, oh, well, letters aren't really my thing. Like, I don't even know how to send one. Like, I don't know what stamps I'm supposed to use. And I'm like, I know you can figure it out.
Yeah, come on now. I would always make the effort to write back.
Yeah. They're like, what if I send you like or I call you? Like, a call is still very nice.
Oh,
like,
I think
calls are nice, but I still want that letter.
Of course. You can't like hold it and reread it.
Yeah, exactly.
So right away. Righto. Okay, so letters. Do you still write letters? Call us, write us, tell us what you do. Like, do you have pen pals? What's your experience there? We'll be right back with more Geeking Out. Emma Benack geeking out about something. We'll be right back, guys. Hey guys, we're back. You're listening to Radio Taiwan International. I'm Michelle, and it's to geek out today. What's your cup of tea? What tickles your fancy? What floats your boats? Join us as we share passions from people in Taiwan and around the world. Today in the studio we have Emma Benack.
Hello again, everybody.
And we were just talking about handwritten letters. Ones that are physical and actually sent through the mail are really wonderful to receive, of course, and also to create, because it's, putting a little bit of soul and stuff. But righto, tell us what else, since we kind of touched on music and you burning CDs or mixtapes before, what else is something you can geek out about?
Well, I think that the audio tracks for movies are things that, when I watch movies, I feel like I can't always comment on things that other people can geek out about like who the director was,
Oh, right.
or like I don't know, like necessarily how the actor was, you know, portraying in that scene. Sometimes I'll be like, okay, yeah, that was very emotional, very well done. But for me, what makes a good movie a great movie is if the movie soundtrack, you can just sort of really feel that the whole emotion of that scene is not just being conveyed by the actors, but is
Yes.
being conveyed by the music
Absolutely.
itself.
Yes, absolutely. I am also a huge fan of the music in movies.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to watch movies that are less, I guess, dramatic and more on the fun side,
Mm-hmm.
which means that the music that whatever music selection they choose is it's gotta fit the mood. It's got to enhance the great time that you're having.
Yeah.
One of my favorites is actually Guardians of the Galaxy Awesome Mix Volume
Oh,
1.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, you haven't seen it? Oh, okay. So tell me, what soundtrack is your actual favorite?
Okay, so I feel like when I think of movie soundtracks that I get excited about, I have two, but they're kind of very different directions. The first is the movie Almost Famous. I don't know if you've seen it.
I have not seen Almost. Is that what is that? Who is that?
It came out a long time ago. But like basically, I really like. First of all, that movie did end up winning the Oscar for best soundtrack.
Oh, wow. Oh, Kate Hudson. I remember seeing this poster. Never saw it.
Yeah, it's a really good movie. It's like a coming of age story about this boy who is a journalist, you know, pretending that he's older and writing for Rolling Stone, and he travels around the country touring with this band. And so, you know, if you're going to make a movie about about this rock band, like you need to have really good music throughout it. But it's not just rock music even. Like I remember the way I can tell if music is really good is if I hear that song later on and I can imagine that scene exactly.
Yes, right.
And one of those songs in the opening of this movie is the song America by Simon and Garfunkel.
Oh.
And I really love that song. It's kind of about this idea of going off to look for America. Whatever that is for you is just like this dream that you have and thinking that you can't stay where you are, and going out to look for something even if you're not sure exactly how to find it. And that really fit with the scene of basically the boy's older sister was leaving the family to go and follow her dreams, which like their conservative mother didn't really approve of. And if you didn't know the song, if you weren't really listening to the lyrics, I don't know if you necessarily would have picked up on that, but just from the melody itself, I felt like it really suited the scene. And then knowing more about the song itself, it was just like it really complemented everything well.
Oh, agreed. It absolutely, if they do choose the perfect musical piece in order to go along with the scene, it does cement the scene in your mind, in your memory. So when you hear the song in the future, absolutely, you kind of remember that day that you saw that movie and exactly what scene it was in.
Yeah.
Right.
I like to think that would be my dream job, to be in charge of coming up with soundtracks for movies or TV shows.
That would be fun.
Like I know like there's a lot of more behind the scenes work that you need to be doing, and a lot of the times they're playing like instrumental tracks, which
true.
like I would definitely need to learn more about finding the right instrumental tracks, because I'm not just like, oh, I can see this certain string section should be playing at this point. Like for me, it's more songs that I really connect to.
Right.
Yeah.
Using more popular songs rather than like composing music. I'm not even going to go anywhere near that.
Yeah, no.
I can't do that, not at all. But props Hans Zimmerman and
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So right. Okay. So besides Almost Famous, any other movies, like notable movies?
Yeah. So this is gonna sound a little, I don't know what it's gonna sound like. It's just like the movie Shrek. If you've ever looked through the soundtrack of that movie, it is fantastic.
Okay.
It goes through all these different like layers of amazing music. You can have the song Hallelujah, like this spiritual experience, and then you can have like Smash Mouth coming in with All Star, and like you have all of these great songs that I think just are part of what makes Shrek so iconic. Like when these songs come on, I think of that movie.
Right.
And,
guys, if you have never seen Shrek before, don't laugh when we say go watch Shrek. It's amazing.
It is an amazing movie. I actually, whenever I see articles written about Shrek, and like I do see this happening, like because in New York where I'm from, they have Shrek parties and stuff like this. I've never actually been to one, but I remember this one.
I would love to go to one. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So what is a Shrek party?
People like dress up in green, or they dress up like ogres, and they have like, maybe they have the ears on, or maybe they have I don't know, maybe they dress up as a donkey or Lord Farquaad, all these different things.
Fiona.
And then they just have like a wild party, and just know that everyone that you're surrounded by is connected to this movie. That's what I love about concerts in general, is like, I don't know any of these people, but I know that they have good taste in music, and we like all appreciate it. So it's just like that with Shrek.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was reading this article about it, and there was this guy that basically the New York Times, they asked him like, well, what is the reason for this Shrek obsession? And he just like came back with this answer like immediately. They said that I was just like really moved by. I mean, just like, it really made me think. It says, Shrek really encapsulates a sort of post 9/11 urge for homeliness and American comfort. And the idea of defending your homeland from a threat really captured that American paranoia in one cinematic event.
Wow.
And I was just
I didn't think about it in that way.
I never would have thought about it like that either. And you know, it's like, I don't know, the people that made this movie, I don't know for sure if they were thinking about it either,
Right.
but you know, maybe that is really what the public took from it without even realizing that's what they needed at that time.
Exactly.
Thanks so much for geeking out with me, Emma. And thanks, listeners, for tuning in to Radio Taiwan International. I'm Michelle Chang, and we'll be back next Thursday with another episode of Geek Out.